Hello, everyone, and welcome to Campus Radio FM 98.2, University of Sargodha. This is your host, RJ Maria Sundas, and the program today you are going to listen is very special. Why it is special? Let me tell you. First, Department of Communication and Media Studies has arranged a two-day international conference under the supervision of University of Sargodha. So we have the privilege to have wonderful guests with us. So many of the people from national level and international level has joined us in this international conference as speakers. So it is our good luck and it is our a privilege for us to have a wonderful speaker among us. So let me introduce my worthy guest, which is Professor Dr. Professor Dr. Jason Genius. And if we talk about his profession, he's a professor in the Department of Mass Communication in the College of Communication, the University of Sharjah. So to further talk about his career, he holds a BA in Political Science from Florida and also Masters and PhD in Political Science from the same university. And let me tell you that our guest is holding different caps. Like our worthy guest has experiences in different things. And if you talk about his scholarly and research interest, it includes political communication, digital media, public opinion, elite social media communication, big data content analysis method, statistical method, and research design. He has published 3 books, two with Oxford University Press, which is really very amazing. And I'm literally feeling an honor to sit with you, sir. And let's welcome our guest. And there are many more achievements, but I'm very excited to interact with our worthy guest. Welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. I'm thrilled to be here.
Thank you so much, sir. So, to begin, I want to ask some of the questions. The very first question is how is your experience about University of Sargodha and specifically Department of Communication and Media Studies?
The experience has been nothing short of lovely. I starts off with a warm faculty that is so welcoming from taking us around to make sure that we see all of the things around campus that we need that are so magnificent, foods, and taking us into their homes to share the experience with us, and then from there walking around campus and interacting with the students both informally and formally in presentations, just inquisitive students, engaged, such a delight. And then on top of that, the campus itself is just beautiful. Like it has such a positive vibe. It feels learned, like very walking around, just really nice space.
All right, I'm so glad to know that you are experiencing so many things formally and informally, and I also came to know that you have been you have been interacting with the Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Kesar Abbas, and you also have your friends like the chairperson of Department of Communication and Media Studies, Dr. Hassan Raza Shirazi. I want to know your experience, although Dr. Hassan is your friend and you already know him, but how is your experience? Firstly, I would like to ask that how was your experience with the Vice Chancellor? Like, what was the basic thing and what was the exciting thing about the university and the Vice Chancellor?
So, we have had both informal and formal meetings, and it started with the informal, which was so much fun. We went to the art center here
Arts Council, Sargoda Arts Council.
yes, and we had a lovely dinner. They displayed art for us, and so there was a bunch of local art and things that we around the room where we were eating, and then when the action really started, we went in and there were several performers doing classic Pakistani music,
All right.
and singing stories, and it concluded with a dance performance and a singing performance that was less classical and sort of more popular
All right.
Pakistani music, and we got pulled on the stage to dance.
Oh my God,
And
that's so exciting.
yeah, and so I did my best to try to learn some
mimic.
Pakistani dance steps, and
Oh.
I had so much. It's a memory that I will never forget. I'm still waiting for somebody to send me the video footage so that I can show it to my friends back in America and the UAE. But we, I immediately felt the Vice Chancellor's warmth then, the same way that I did everyone else. It's just very clear that he cares about what's happening here, cares about what he's doing, cares about students, faculty, was such a tremendous host to us. And then we met the next day to start talking about a partnership between the University of Sharjah and the University of Sargoda to hopefully build a relationship that promotes research connections, student exchanges, perhaps faculty exchanges, an ongoing relationship that I'm hoping we're able to facilitate something formal, but at the absolute least, we'll continue to do the informal partnerships, and we would very much like to invite the faculty and here from mass communication and media studies to come to the University of Sharjah for a conference there too. And so this exchange, I think, can be very fruitful.
Exactly, that's going to be a marvelous contribution from your side. And as sir, you have mentioned that it's going to be a collaborative work in future. So arranging this wonderful conference, our worthy chairman of Department of Communication and Media Studies, Dr. Hassan Raza Shirazi, has done a wonderful job. So what in your opinion is the expected outcome of this very conference entitled as Artificial Intelligence in Media? That's basically the need of the hour as well.
Yeah, well, to start with, having a conference centered on that topic with a collection of experts in this field is so important. Not just that it's happening here, that this should be happening everywhere. Exactly. As much as possible. And it's great that Dr. Hassan put this together. The work that he did with this was phenomenal. Because look, we are moving into a new reality, and yes, we have no idea exactly where it's going to take us. Exactly. And so it's of such importance that we be talking about this and bringing learned perspective to it, and a diversity of perspectives, from the optimism, the fear, the pulling all of this together. And you heard everything at this conference across the range of different perspectives about what AI can do, what it might do in the future, what it is already doing, what the risks are, what the benefits are, and I think central to this, it's not just that it was scholars talking about it, it's that rooms full of students who are going to be the future users of AI.
Exactly.
And so to get them to start thinking about what it means in a larger context and perspective is just so important. And the conference did this amazingly.
Okay, so we can see that the students that are future of the future are going to, learn a lot from this conference, and of course, it's a wonderful contribution to the youngsters. Sir, as you have mentioned that there are certain fears that are associated, and there are certain benefits as well. If I talk about people here, and I think around the globe, a lot many people do not know that what basically AI can do for them. Most of the people are afraid of using this. I don't know why. Could you please shed some light on this? Like,
Yep. I am in the middle of a research project now, and that was what I talked about here at the conference. Along with some colleagues from Kazakhstan and the United States, we secured a large grant from the Kazakhstan Ministry of Education to do surveys across 5 Central Asian countries. And one of the things that we are looking at is what is AI optimism. And so it's whether or not, from a sort of scaled perspective, from fearful to optimistic and in between. And the first part of this project, I have started. We'll have it ready to send out for publication probably within the next month or so. But the results are fascinating. I theorized that people who use social media platforms that are primarily algorithmically driven, as opposed to those that are primary socially network driven, are likely to be more optimistic about AI. And so what are those platforms? Think of the difference between, say, TikTok and Facebook. Okay, so they both have algorithms, but TikTok is driven by algorithm. The way you curate your feed, it's a hypersensitive algorithm that allows people to shape it in the way they want. The algorithms in Facebook are a little more subtle, where people may not actually even notice a lot of it, how it's shaping their feeds. But in TikTok and those types of platforms, people using them know that they're interacting with AI. They know this, and that's the whole point. They understand that it is being used to shape and curate their feed to their liking.
Exactly.
And so then I think their own experience with it makes them less afraid of it. And so what I found in this survey data, we've just looked at 3 countries at this point, which was Kazakhstan, Kyrgyzstan, and Georgia, one of the Caucasus, and found crystal clear evidence that the more people used algorithmically driven social media platforms, the more optimistic they were about AI, and people who used more algorithmically driven ones, less optimistic. And so you think about who it is using these things, it's young people.
Yeah.
And so TikTok, I've learned so much about it from, I keep up with everything and I'm constantly updating, but my 18-year-old daughter
Oh.
Tries to make sure that I understand TikTok, and she's been
Oh.
helping me with my research. When I wrote the abstract for this recent paper, I sent it to her for her approval first,
Oh my
so
God.
that she would go through the abstract. I'm like, make sure I don't sound like an idiot. Does this make sense to you? And she checked it for me and gave me the thumbs up. And so yeah, and I think we're moving on next. We're doing another wave of surveys, and I think we're going to dedicate one country entirely in the 5 countries that we're surveying to all about measures of attitude and use of AI, and to find out just exactly what do people know about what it can do for them, what do they understand about it, and then what are the sources of those attitudes and understandings, and then what are the relationships, like, so what do they think about policy? How does that shape their feelings about their government's interaction with AI, private business interaction with AI? And we plan on exploring all of this, and are fortunate enough to have this opportunity to measure it with these surveys.
So I'm very excited about your, as you have mentioned your work. I would love to, have a copy of it, and I would love to read it actually. As you have mentioned that it's a collaborative work. Your daughter has,
Yes.
helped you a lot. So I would love to read it, and I'll be waiting for this, like when it will be published. So I would love to, and I'll email you about all
Absolutely.
the
Absolutely.
research. Sir, when we talk about AI, your research is going to have a lot many people, as it focuses on the positivity and optimism. There are a lot of people, like it is a common perspective about AI, that AI is going to be that dominant in future, that people will lose their jobs. So I want you as an expert of this field to let us, clear some of the misconceptions and the myths about this, like how AI will, contribute a lot in the progress rather than, removing the people from their jobs.
Yeah, I think that without question, certain jobs are going to be transformed, right?
Yeah.
Like there are a lot of occupations that may shift, including my own, including being a researcher. While AI is a tool, it may ultimately end up better at my job than I am. And so I don't think that it's unfounded necessarily to have fear. It's completely reasonable to have fear. That said, um, the opportunities that AI can open for humanity are nearly limitless. The steps that we're moving, our ability to create new technologies that we can't even imagine at this point, and so things that we haven't even thought of yet. And with that will come jobs, and with that will come one of the things that I really have hope for. I don't want to say that I'm certain that this is going to happen, but my hope for AI is that in some ways it can uh, bridge some of the inequalities around the world. Is that it can open doors and opportunity for people outside of the privileged, advantaged Western world.
All right.
And
This is a
and
huge, expectation.
yeah,
Uh,
and I don't know that is. I mean, one of the things I don't want to be overly optimistic about that, because people had the same kind of optimism when the internet came. They were like,
yeah,
it's going to bridge these divides, and look, it has done I mean, in so many ways, the connection that the world that we
exactly.
have across
It has
countries and
bridged the gap
cultures.
between many of the,
Yeah.
countries in the cultural, differences, and many of the things are being, good day by day.
Yeah, like
Mostly.
our understanding of each
Exactly.
other
Exactly.
is now at a level that it's never been. Like
Exactly.
people from starting with YouTube now to TikTok, the videos that we see where there's this cultural exchange that goes on, and so certainly the internet created some issues, and one of the as far as it being a revolutionary force to bridge inequalities, I think that at one level, the powers that be sort of harnessed it in a way that didn't necessarily bridge inequalities, and that could happen with AI as well. But the thing about AI is it's so the things that we will be able to do with it doesn't require uh, 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 the level of expertise that you need. It's just
Exactly.
some with just day-to-day interaction and use of things like the language modeling from ChatGPT, and
Yeah.
then the other things that like thinking about image uses of it for images, and I mean, just we could go on and on of the things that it could do. Is as people start to use this, it's going to open up ideas for creation, for jobs, for partnerships, for all of these things that I'm hoping
Exactly.
bridges some of the divide. But on the other hand, like we as every government, every society needs to be prepared that there
Exactly.
is going to be a shift in the job market. There's going to be a shift in what kinds of jobs, new jobs being replaced, old jobs being replaced by
Exactly.
AI, new jobs being created. And for me, I'm a researcher on one hand, and on the other, I'm a teacher, and uh, I'll turn 53 years old, inshallah, in 2 weeks. And if I do, if I continue, I've continued to develop my technological skills, and I never stop. I just keep going. For me now as a teacher, I think that all teachers should be using AI, teaching their learning how they can use it in many different ways, teaching their students to use it, because this is the wave of the future. And if we try to resist, and the thing that I've kept saying to people, if they're afraid of it, I understand, but the reality of it is that resistance is futile. It's not.
Exactly.
You're not. We're
Exactly.
not going to stop it. And
Exactly.
so then we should engage, learn ethical uses of it, try to harness the power of it at the ground level before it, like many other things in this world, before it gets
Exactly.
taken from us
Take it.
by,
Exactly.
it's so.
Exactly. So we can say that it's time to learn its uses positively and
Yeah,
creatively so that we can, get maximum out of it.
yeah.
So, sir, talking about again the conference, because you have been interacting with a lot of people over there, and people and student and everyone including me was very much inquisitive to meet you and ask some of the genuine questions and concerns basically. So what was the most repeated concern of the people over there? Like, it's been 2 days now, so what was the thing which was bothering people a lot, and they were asking you about, like, what was their genuine concern, and you felt that it should be there must be a discussion on it.
Uh, I think that mostly what you hear is people afraid that uh, that they're not going to be jobs.
Yes.
That said, the people that I hear that from are these scholars talking about it, and they're generally a little older, and
Yeah.
who I don't hear that fear from? Students. Students are, I think, more optimistic about it. And some of the things that I did hear from students about it that uh, uh, it really piqued my curiosity were sort of bigger fears in the sense of like one at almost metaphysical
Oh
sort
my
of
God.
like thinking science fiction and moving forward, and I'll get to that, but prior to that, uh, uh, I heard questions about uh, I'm trying to remember the exact. There was a question that really piqued my interest from a student about. Gosh, what was it? I just had it on my tongue and I can't think of it. That I mean, the general optimism from them, but the the metaphysical question,
That's
like
more
so,
concerning, I
yeah, and
guess.
so and
Well,
so like for me, and I mean and some of the things that I said too may have encouraged these kinds of questions, because I have been telling my students for more than a decade that I really believe if the human species, survives long enough, uh, I think that ultimately we will be cyber organisms.
all right.
Yeah,
Like, I want to,
yeah.
listen more about it.
I think that if you watch over the last 50 years, or let's take it even a little longer, since big giant computers that filled rooms to now telephones that are more powerful than those were, uh, what continues to happen is that technology moves closer and closer and closer to being an extension of us.
Exactly.
And AI, it's artificial intelligence. What kind of intelligence? Human intelligence. And so it's taking human ideas, human ways of thinking, human language. Which reminded me the question,
Okay, the
the
question. Okay,
question,
let's do it.
and I'll get back to this, was people were concerned about the Western bias in, say, ChatGPT and artificial intelligence, which it's there. Okay, and part of the reason is because the language models that got used to initially train it come
Exactly.
from a Western model. But taking that, moving that on, and thinking next steps, next level, as we continue, you go from these giant computers to personal computers to laptops to telephones to Google Lens
Exactly.
glasses to artificial intelligence that is becoming a partner where we communicate with
Exactly.
it. uh, there are people now working on exactly how we can connect the electrical impulses in our brain, our synapses, to
Oh, that's too
to
amazing,
chips.
actually.
And so if we can ultimately figure out how to connect that to a processor, to memory, and honestly, this is not, like, some people may think that sounds science fiction and crazy. It's not that far away. And the fascinating thing about it is the leaps and bounds of where we're going with AI are speeding up how quickly we may get to that, because the tools that we can use. And if you get to a point where you can connect that way, and now we're developing quantum computers that can do these calculations that we can't even imagine, is ultimately, and this is a big leap, but ultimately I think that we could get to a place where we have a completely different understanding of space time and our connection to the world around us, that we may ultimately crack into time travel, in the sense that we could you know use AI to connect us to quantum computers that allows us to realize that the stars were there. And
Yeah,
and
exactly.
like I don't think that we're going to see this
Yeah,
necessarily, but
fortunately or
yeah,
unfortunately,
but
yes, but
I think that I don't think that is far fetched. And
I
people,
see.
I'm certain that some people will think I'm crazy, but I will guarantee that if you talked to people 40 years ago about what we do now, they would say, and people said things like this, they of what we're doing now, they would have said you're crazy.
Exactly.
And
They
so,
won't believe that it's going to happen in the future.
yeah,
But now we people are experiencing.
yeah,
That's a biggest thing. If I talk about, 100 years before, so all these things were like, a fantasy.
yeah,
People used to fantasize that how we can see a person and,
just TV,
exactly.
radio, and think about the technological advancement within the last 100 years. The humankind went thousands of years with very little development. Sure, there was development and there were things here, but relative to what has happened in the last 100 years, and it's not slowing down, it's exponential. It is getting faster and faster and faster. So the growth that we had in 10 years, now we will experience that kind of growth in a year or less. And it's almost getting to the point to where the growth is daily. And this is and AI is a is just a huge jump in this, because of its ability to do things that we can't. Right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
memory, and processing at a level that we can't do. It's just up to us to figure out what can it do, what can it do, what do we want it to do, what do we not want it to do, how do we interact with it in a way that it's a useful extension of us, as
Exactly.
opposed to something that's a detriment to us.
Exactly, it's another kind of ourself.
Yeah,
Like now we do have a partner of
yeah,
us, and
yeah,
that's truly a blessing for us if we
yeah,
think about it
yeah,
in a
yeah.
positive way. And it is also, I would like to add that it is the blessing for us, like through technology, we have accessed people like you. And I was thinking that I was that excited at the beginning of the program that I haven't mentioned my name. That's for the first time. Like it's been more than 5 years. Like I have been doing my
This is the
program.
first
This is
time
for
you.
the first
Oh well,
time.
I'm going to take that as an honor.
Literally, I was so excited. I forgot to mention my name, but I think that's a biggest privilege for me, and that's a blessing for me to have an interaction with you, as I wasn't available in the daytime, and it was my wish to attend this wonderful conference over here. But yes, now I'm too excited, and it is the because of technology we were talking about, like we have access to the people like you.
Well,
Yes,
look at
like
what we're doing now.
yeah,
And
exactly. And it is, John Keats once said that a thing of beauty is joy forever. So this video is going to be a joy forever for me, like whenever I will watch this video. And apart from this, it is going to be helpful for a lot of people and the students of not only University of Sirgoda and the Department of, Media Studies, but for the masses as well. Like, like we have talked about so many aspects. Like I personally don't know, like okay, this is going to be happen. Some of the predictions you have made, and let's see, let's hope for the best. What's going to be happen. But yes, I am very much optimistic about it. Like as you have said that it's a thing that we should be optimistic, and it's going to pay us back. So sir, I have talked about the Segoda University and the department and the people as well. And so now I would like to ask you about our radio station. I think it is your first visit over here in these days. So
It's my first. I've been to Pakistan once before,
right.
to Karachi and here are worlds apart,
Exactly.
and so it's
You're right.
two different things. And the radio station. I was sitting here, and as you were talking about that you got so excited that you forgot to even say your name. I too am excited because, like, look, I'm just some American dude, and I end up like I would have never guessed when I was a young when I was a kid, when I was even a young man, that I'm going to be sitting in a radio station at a university in Pakistan.
We are honored, sir, to have you here. Literally, we are honored. And
I will never forget this. Like I've done radio, I've done TV, I've done this, but this to me, it's a lovely space, and what a great conversation, and it's hard for me to put to words what the experience has been for me. But if I had to pick a single word to describe my experience since I've been here, including the one at this radio station, it's magical. It's
oh,
magical.
it's these are wonderful words from you, basically, sir. I'm glad to
I
have
mean
such
it too.
words.
People who know me will say, and one of the faculty members in the department said, "If Jason says it, he means it." And I heard
Oh,
this
so we
last
are
night,
truly blessed.
and so if I say it, I mean it.
Oh, we are honored, and we are thankful to the chairperson, Dr. Hassan Raza Hashmi, and I'm very thankful to him for bringing this up for us and for many of the people over here. So sir, single simple question from you, that being a researcher, being a professor, I think you have had experienced a lot of phases in your life, and a lot of people and different queries and researches and things. And there must be some of the you can say that things you want to suggest to the young researchers and to the teachers as well, over here and around the globe. So could you please suggest some of the basic things related to this research and the teaching, like some of the advances which are being made around the globe? So some of the suggestions for the teachers and researchers.
Um, to start with, like, as a researcher, I feel so fortunate to have landed in the career that I am in. Uh, I, in many ways, I was born a researcher.
Oh,
I was born inquisitive, and my father told me when I was much younger, and this was not a direct quote. He was quoting. He wasn't actually. I don't think he knew who he was quoting, but it was a phrase he had heard, and now I know
oh,
it's. And it's. He told me, um, figure out what you love to do, find somebody to pay you to do it, and you will never work a day in your life.
oh,
And I feel like that. And so when I am thinking about uh, uh, researchers, aspiring researchers, established researchers, people trying to grow their research, is be inquisitive. Look, look around, make observations, develop methods. For me, my career, my ability to do research and understand, answer questions, has been built around understanding the methods of science. And so I do quantitative analysis, but I also appreciate qualitative research and different sort of epistemologies and data collection strategies and analysis. But it's like, learn science, not and the method. And I think that what's happening too is universities are growing. That one of the biggest changes that's happening outside of the Western world is universities like the University of Sargota and other places are pushing for more research output from their faculty, and they do so because it pushes up rankings.
Exactly.
And so my suggestion would be on that path is learn the science. Learn the science and then apply it to the things that you're passionate about,
exactly.
to the things that drive your inquiry. And I think if people do that, we all can work together to build the body of knowledge.
Exactly.
And that's what we're doing.
Exactly. Thank you so much, sir, for that kind suggestions. And if I talk about the vision of this university, as you have mentioned that a lot of universities around the globe are doing, and they are, trying to bridge the gap between and what the problems are they facing basically. So the vision of our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Kaisar Abbas, is, same as you have mentioned, that we are struggling and we are trying to make it a better place in terms of research and international conferences and the interaction between different universities. So I would like to ask you again about his vision, as you have, have you had an interaction with him,
I have.
with the Vice Chancellor? So what you have observed about his vision about Sargota University as a whole?
I think he has a good vision for this university. And the thing that was very clear to me, both in my conversations with him as well as my conversations with faculty, is that I think he seems very realistic
Yes.
about how to get where he wants the university to go.
Exactly.
And I think too that not all universities understand the complexity, and not all university leadership understand the complexities of trying to push a faculty into thinking about their jobs and what they're doing in a different way.
Exactly.
And from what I have gathered from my talk with him, as well as talking with faculty, is it seems grounded and in a way that is also compassionate. And so, I mean, one of the issues that I have with some universities is leadership around is they don't have the compassion, and they're just like telling faculty, you just have to publish this many articles in this type of journal and do these things, and it's not that simple. And building an infrastructure and partnerships in a way that facilitates it is a much smarter way to go about that. And his reaching out to us to try to build a relationship with us at the University of Sharjah, I think demonstrates his thinking on how to do this, and I think he's doing a great job. It's hard to walk, and the stories that I hear about sort of developing the infrastructure within the university is important too, and I like my impression of him was top notch.
Thank you so much. That's really true. Like his approach toward the university and the approach toward research is very realistic, and that's key to the success. And I came to know that about sir your collaborative work with the chairman of the department, Sayed Dr. Hassan Raza Shirazi.
Yeah.
So, could you please share some of the experiences with him when you people were, together and working on different projects? And
last night, Dr. Hassan and I were walking through the campus, headed back to where we're staying here on campus. And like what I would call it is we were in full nerd mode, and back and forth about research, about software applications, about thinking how to advance and do these things, and then I can tell you too, like I'm a pretty accomplished scholar. I'm looking at his record from the last couple of years, and I'm like, man, I need to pick things up here. He's
oh my God,
he's doing phenomenal
wow.
work, and he has a really great student too. I think is going to be headed off to a good PhD program, and I know that we have some plans trying to get some grants together and do some work, and I not only with him, but I think there's other faculty in the department who I'm looking forward to working with projects on. I have ongoing incoming data, and I like doing data, but I don't necessarily like writing the front end of papers, and so I'm trying to recruit some faculty from this department to partner with me on that, and maybe if maybe Dr. Hassan will let me ride his coattails.
Oh.
So,
So it was really, really interesting interacting you, and literally the things we have been, talking about, and listening from you about the world and the artificial intelligence and your experiences was quite, interesting. And I hope you will be, joining us again, and I hope to have an interaction with you again.
I would very much love to come back. I'm hoping that we find some way to build a partnership where maybe a faculty exchange. I would really like to come and spend at least a semester here teaching some classes maybe. And
it's going to be wonderful then, and I'm going to be your student when you'll be visiting us. And thank you so much for joining us, and it's a very interactive session, and it's going to be very helpful for all of the people here. And I want to thank you, my worthy guest, as well as all the attendees listening us and watching us through social media platforms. And I hope this session will help you a lot, and I am thankful for the attendees and the speaker, and especially I am thankful to Department of Communication and Media Studies, University of Sargodha, for providing us this wonderful opportunity. Listeners, we will meet once again in the future. So till then, take care. Allah Hafiz.